So welcome. This is the Ann Arbor 2030 District's Multifamily Quarterly Meeting, December 1st, and we're going to be learning a lot about the new 2023 DTE Multifamily Program, Incentive Program. So with that, Avery, you can kick it off.
Great. So I already introduced myself, but for the sake of the recording, I'm the DTE Multifamily Program Manager for our Energy Efficiency Rebate Program. And I've got some of my program team, implementation team here as well. So they may chime in or answer questions that come up as well. So I'm going to just kick it off here by going through a brief agenda. Hoping that Zoom complies with me. So we're going to go over the objectives of the program, the eligibility for the program, and the different program paths that the program offers. And then dive in a little bit to what, as far as the incentive structure, what different areas of multifamily buildings we offer incentives for, and then talk about the overall program focus. And give you a sneak peek of our application, a couple marketing materials, and then give you some contact information. And then we'll have time for questions. I'm sure we won't I won't be talking directly at you for 45 minutes, so I'll do my best here. So let's go to the objectives first. So what we're trying to do here is offer financial incentives to upgrade inefficient equipment. And in multifamily buildings, there is a vast array of equipment that would be considered covered. So later in the presentation, I'm going to show you where the catalogs are available. And then I'm also going to reference where the utilities have the energy saving measures listed that are eligible for claiming energy savings, which is what our programs do, is we pay incentives to these measures so that we can achieve energy savings for the customers, property owners, landlords, tenants. So as I mentioned, we're looking to reduce energy waste. So that reduces energy usage and cost ultimately, which is a goal of the program, to make affordable housing, especially for our income qualified program, which I will talk about here in a bit. So as a byproduct of that, it increases resident comfort and safety by having efficient equipment and building shell. This is not only more comfortable for the tenants, but it's generally more safe. We know a lot of buildings can be older and have older equipment, and by providing incentives and upgrading equipment, it creates a safe environment for the tenants to reside. And I didn't mention off the top, but please feel free to ask questions if anything comes to mind during the presentation. So next, let's talk about eligibility. So our participants have to be DTE electric and or natural gas customers. So that's a prerequisite to the program. And within that caveat, so if you are electric customer, then we would offer you rebates from our electric side of the catalog. If you're a natural gas customer, we'd offer you rebates from the natural gas. If you're a combination customer, you can get both. So that's how it works for eligibility. And who do we work with? We work with property owners, managers, and or contractors. So we aren't a program that interfaces directly with the tenants because they aren't ultimately decision makers. But what we're looking to do is to pass down the benefits of the program to the tenants ultimately. Now, a multifamily building for the program is considered properties with 3 or more units within under one roof. So anything that's 2 or less would actually fall into our single family program, which I won't be covering today, but I can pass more information if that applies to you. So what kind of dwellings is this? This is apartments, cooperative housing, condominiums, dormitories, senior living facilities. So It can be a wide array of types of housing, and anything from a high-rise building to, a two-story building with 20 units. So we service a wide array of customers. So to get in, I told you that we take a look at the catalogs, and when we have time at the end, I think I might come back to this and scroll through just so we can take a look, but they are linked here. So essentially, once you get this presentation, you can click on the link and go straight to the catalog for the two program packs, which I'll talk more about here in a minute. So as I mentioned earlier, we are offering incentives for electric and/or natural gas customers. The energy efficiency programs in Michigan are legislatively required. So we have a rule in the program that actually is part of the law that says we can't do fuel switching. So what that means is if you have a electric heating system, then you are eligible for electric heating system upgrades. So mini splits, heat pumps, electric resistance, anything that is the same fuel. So meaning if you're changing fuels with your heating system or water heating system, those aren't eligible for incentives just due to the actual law in Michigan. So I just wanted to note that, but any upgrades to the system of the same fuel are eligible within each specification. So the catalog has a full list of all the measures, what we call measures, which are can range anywhere from a faucet aerator all the way to windows to a heat pump water heater system. It's a wide array of measures that we offer. And as a note, I made sure the link to where we get these measures from and their associated energy savings is included here for the Michigan Energy Measures database, if you're not familiar. You don't have to look at that. I just want to make sure you're aware that's where the measures come from. So important part of the program to be eligible is that you submit an application prior to starting the project. Reason for that is that in order to make sure the project qualifies, we want to make sure that we see the project, are able to give you a reservation letter to reserve funding, and then you begin the project and we have 90 days to complete the project. Sometimes projects fall out of 90 days. In that case, we have a great outreach team that can work with you to determine timing if we need any type of a buffer there. We try to close the program year by November 30th, so we're working feverishly right now to close the program. So you'll see that we ask for the documentation within 90 days or by November 30th in order to qualify in the current program year. So at this point in time, we are going to be kicking off 2023 very shortly. So we'll have updated catalogs. And then we also offer, which is not mentioned on this slide, but for contractors and different trades, we have actually a kickoff meeting every year, which I can probably share that link with Jan once we have it set up. And then anyone on this call that's interested in that call, which really goes into the specifics for contractors and trades, you can attend. So I'll be sure to share that out. So some of the things that are required with an application are, as expected, invoices, specification sheets for the measures, and some measures require some additional templates that are available in our application just to specify certain parts of the measure, and then a final signed agreement. So those are generally what we collect. We try to make the process as smooth as possible for the customer, and ultimately, like I said, we have a great outreach team that's able to work with each one of the participants to make sure that the process goes as smoothly as possible. So I want to talk about the program paths. You'll see mentioned here market rate and income qualified. What that means is for any participant that is in a income qualified status, which I'll delve into in, I believe, the next slide, there is increased rebates available. So that means that our standard rebates for any market rate property where there is not a need due to income qualification, they get a higher rebate. And so that is really because we know that the need exists in multifamily housing for lower income, moderate income areas to help offset the cost of the higher rate. So that's what we're doing by offering increased incentives. So those are the two paths of the program. All of the measures that are offered in the catalog are almost the same. So there's a couple things that you'll see are repetitive here. We offer the prescriptive, which means there's set rebates based on the measure, and then custom, which custom rebates are based off energy savings calculation, which I will talk about here in a minute. We offer rebates not only for common areas, but for the actual units themselves as well. So if work is being done in different parts of the common area of your building, we have rebates for that, and we also have rebates for any upgrades inside the units as well. So as part of the program, which we offer still this year, is no cost direct installs. And what that is we offer a suite of energy savings measures. They're low cost measures within all the units within the building. That so it would be anything from thermostats, LEDs, faucet aerators, low flow shower heads. We will come in, our program team will install those directly for no cost to the building owner or tenant. So it's a good program. But we also know there's a need for deeper measures, right? So we offer in the income qualified program a free energy assessment. So we'll go through and do an assessment and actually evaluate all the opportunities that may be available in that building and or buildings and provide a report. So that's a great offering in the income qualified program as a start to participating. We also have funds available for premium weatherization measures, which is limited funding, but what that program does is it looks for the neediest property owners and landlords that are in need of upgrades to either the insulation of the building, the heating system, which is upgraded to heat pumps or heat pump water heaters, and or air sealing that may be needed in the building. So they're more premium measures, not like the direct installs where those are our lower or no cost measure. So we have funding set aside just for that to help offset up to 100% of the cost to the landlord. So I'll go into a little bit more detail here, but this is just a really high level slide of what's in the catalog and some of the things that we offer. So let's talk about what income qualification is. So income qualification can happen one of four ways. So this is great because it gives lots of opportunity for those increased rebates. And the first one is any participation in affordable housing program. So if it is the low income housing tax credit, HUD, USDA, NISHDA, local tax abatement, anything that you have to be income qualified for as a property, you are automatically eligible for the program. Another way is, and most commonly used, is anytime your property falls into HUD's qualified census tracts. So I included the link here. You can go to zoom into Michigan and see if your property falls into a qualified census tract. If not, you can qualify in the other three ways. So we also offer rent roll documentation. So if you're at or below 80% of the fair market rent, that qualifies you. and then resident income information too. So you could also qualify that way, either being at or below 200% of the federal poverty level, or at 80% of the area median income. So just two different ways to qualify tenants, and it just has to be at least 50% of the tenants in your building. So there's lots of ways to qualify for this program and increased incentives. I just wanted to kind of go through that. If any of that, is meaningful for you and your property and or dwelling. Okay, so for those of you who are using, interested in using rebates and you're curious about what we offer, there's two areas of the building that we classify, and that would be the common area and unit. And I provided some examples. So a common area could be the hallways, lobbies, a community room, sometimes parking lots and lighting is another piece that you could have for common area. And we offer different rebates for each type of measure based on these categories. So we have lighting, and there's a lot of different lighting rebates available. HVAC, which includes gas and electric equipment, hot water replacement, and insulation. So that's the broad categories. Again, I'll go back to the catalog and kind of browse through it at the end if I have time. And you can see exactly what measures fall into those categories. So to go back to the prescriptive and the custom piece, prescriptive are all the measures that are in the catalog. So there's set rates based on certain measures. The custom, it's less common. We do have custom projects that happen where there's a qualified upgrade, and it's not a piece of equipment or set of equipment that's in the prescriptive catalog. So this is paid based on kilowatt hours or NCF saved, and at a certain rate. And again, the rate for income qualified is higher than it is for the market rate, but we offer rebates for both. So I said, I'll give you some examples. Here's just some examples of measures: can lights, reset controls, furnaces, pool heaters, pipe wrap, thermostat. There's lots of examples here of things that we would incentivize, including doors, windows, and some of the other LED lamps and sensor types and things like that. So for the in-unit part of the program, again, we offer the direct install. So we offer the direct installation of LEDs, thermostats, aerators, low flow shower heads, and pipe wrap in the program next year. This is the low to no cost measures that we offer, but we also offer prescriptive rebates for all those things I mentioned: lighting, HVAC, water heating. So if any of your units have individual heating systems or individual water heating systems, lighting that needs to be replaced, there are rebates available for that. So our application, hopefully you can all see this pretty well, is pretty simple. It is a one-page application. However, as I mentioned, depending on what work you're doing, there is going to be some additional worksheets that will be required. But this is what you start with. So you complete this application. It is available online, and it is also available through the PDF in the catalog. And again, at the end, I'll list our contact information so you can get connected with us if you have any specific questions about how to access it. So we do have marketing materials available. Essentially, they are one-page documents that offer information that I just covered about the energy assessments, the products we offer, the incentives, the income qualified program. So if that's useful for you for any distribution or for your own use, let me know. I can send those to Jan as well. We have this general program offering flyer, and then we also have one that covers frequently asked questions, and there are frequently asked questions on our website as well. So I want to talk about the program focus a little bit. The reason I want to cover this is the programs have really evolved over the last 5 to 10 years. Generally, 5, 7 years ago, most of the offerings were just the low to no cost measures. It was the thermostats and the LEDs and the phosphorylators. But now we're really trying to focus on the deeper measures, which means we're looking for opportunities to upgrade electrical heating systems and water heating systems. We're trying to also focus on opportunities to further insulate a building and any air sealing if it's appropriate, and then serve the customers more holistically. So what that means is if we're able to complete a project for you for your heating system, we want to evaluate if you need more insulation as well. So just looking at those opportunities, building the relationships, and keeping your participation in the program going. And as always, we're always trying to collaborate. So that's why we're on this call today. This is a great example. We want to make sure that if there's any opportunities to really, the program wants to, any additional costs you're going to have to upgrading these systems by using something more efficient, we want to cover that incremental cost and more if we can. So to make sure that, we're not putting in inefficient equipment, which it does not seem to be an issue in some of the area you're located in. I know there's a big focus on energy efficiency, but I think it still can be costly to do some of these projects. So we're here to help. So here I included links to, we have 2 websites. We have a link to the DTE website, which is where more general information can be found. Let me pull this over. So there's 5 tabs here. It talks about an overview, which is a lot of the things I already covered with you just now. There is a tab to request the energy assessment I mentioned. So you can fill out a form and request the assessment, and it goes directly to the program team. Program offerings, it goes through again some of the things I've already covered with you all. And then we're going to visit the contractor site in a minute, but I also mentioned that there's some FAQs here. So if there's anything I didn't answer today, or you're interested in just searching this yourself, you can go out and check those out. But for the contractors of our program, oh no, I guess I can't show you this site right now. Sometimes DTE's firewall is too strong for its own good. But we have a site dedicated just to contractors that participate in the program that gives specific information related to them. And that is this site here. So it delves into a little more detail. And then I included our contact information so that you can reach out to us directly. And I think that's where I'm going to wrap here. Last slides for questions. The other thing I wanted to mention is the program frequently does the pilot programs as well. And right now we're running a pilot, which we still have the opportunity to enroll participants in for strategic energy management in multifamily buildings. And that is a very interesting topic. I won't delve into it in detail, but essentially it's a way for you to holistically participate in a program that runs over the course of about 12 months. And the program is free to you. And essentially what it does is they help you identify with an engineer and an energy team any opportunities for low to no cost improvements, behavioral improvements, and they are able to model your energy usage to help you understand how you're using energy and any modifications you can make to save energy. This is really great for people who are just starting out in their energy efficiency journey, or those that are looking, they're like, well, we've done this, this, and this, but we need a little bit more incremental savings. This program is great. So if you have questions about the strategic energy management pilot we're running for multifamily, contact me directly in the email on the slides. So I'm going to stop there and start to allow you all to ask questions if you have them.
Thank you so much, Avery. Are there some folks that have some questions? I know I have one or a couple actually, and that has to do with, as you're aware of, Ann Arbor is really looking at, electrifying buildings, and I know there's that issue with fuel switching that we have to deal with MPSC. But if you do switch out to, say, a heat pump, can you take the incremental savings on the AC if you have a gas furnace and a typical condensing unit?
That's a great question, Jan. So we haven't done that in the program yet, but I would like to find a way to do so. So it's a great call out because we have had that situation proposed to us before, where they may be installing the mini splits and they're upgrading the existing AC. We don't have any specific rebates designed for that as of today, but if you run into that situation, let me know because I would like to find a way to address that in the future because I think that's a real opportunity.
Okay, great. Jackie.
Yes, I'm curious if there have been any sort of larger buildings, larger complexes that have implemented insulation and air sealing. It just seems like such a complex project, and I'm just curious if that's something you are aware of examples of.
Yeah, we actually completed about 12 projects this year at different properties. Some of the properties were quite large, where they had 10 plus buildings. And what the type of insulation and air sealing that we're doing is all at the attic level. So they are going into the attic and making sure there's adequate space and ventilation for that project to occur, and then getting it to a certain R value to achieve the savings there. So I don't have any property names to share just due to customer privacy, but I will say we have had about 12 projects complete this year, and some of them were larger properties.
That's great. Are there ever any that do deal with wall insulation?
We haven't had any in the last year or two. I know that there's a project actually that's proposed for this coming year that they were looking at doing wall insulation. So that one's tricky, obviously, as you probably know, to go back and retrofit wall insulation. But we do offer new construction rebates too. So it's probably more common that we would see participation in that. But I haven't seen a lot of projects for wall.
That's great. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have one more, another question, and it has to do with air sealing. And there's a product called AeroSeal. And it gets combined with a blower door test. And I'm wondering if you have had any projects that have used that.
Yeah, we actually have done that in the single family setting. We haven't done it in multifamily. AeroSeal was, I believe, it's at the pilot level right now. And so I don't think we have any results yet from that pilot. I think they're still recruiting participants. But I have heard of it and we are testing it, but not at the multifamily level yet.
Great. Any other questions? We do have some multifamily property owners here, as well as some income qualified folks. Do you have any questions along those lines?
Yeah, I would say if you're considering a project in the next year or two, reach out to us and let us know to make sure that, if, for example, you're getting bids on different designs, that, we're constantly evolving the program and hoping to assist with those projects as you're going through them. And if you don't, honestly, if you haven't started yet, or you're kind of at a pause, you can always reach out to us and we can give you an assessment if you haven't had one already, so that we can let you know what we think the opportunities are in the building.
And I have to say, starting next year, couple or layer or whatever you stack the energy efficiency programs with the tax credits and the tax sort of rebates and so forth that'll be coming. It's a prime time to start thinking about and planning these upgrades, because if you know it's a great time to do it from a financing standpoint. With that, could you maybe comment on is there a multifamily new construction program? And do you have any, maybe just touch a little bit on that? Because we do have some folks that are architects here and working on some new projects.
Yes, in fact, sorry, I'm not. I wanted to bring up our catalog, as I promised. The catalog, actually, we have not only the retrofit measures available, but we also have flagged the new construction measures. So let me see if I can share my screen again and show you how you can identify them in the catalog. See my screen? You'll see it.
Yeah, it's up.
So this is after the application here, we have the start of all the incentive sheets that tell you how much incentive we offer per unit. As I mentioned in the presentation, any measures that have this construction code next to them, they are available for new construction. So as you go through, you'll see not all of them are available at new construction level, but quite a bit. And then in addition to that, if you have any custom project, for example, you get a PERS rating or something like that, reach out to us, because there may be incentives available for that too. But more commonly, they're paid at the measure level, and they're identified in the catalog through this little construction code.
Okay, that's great. Right. Anyone else have questions before we close our session? Okay, how does one reach out to you?
Yeah, great question. So I've got my email address listed on the presentation. So Jan, I think you'll probably be circulating that.
I will, and if you want to drop it in the chat, that'd be great too.
Yeah, let me do that. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll get you connected with our outreach team if you have a project that you're scoping or you have further questions. I'm always happy to chat on the program and available.
All right. And I think I have a good candidate for possibly the strategic energy management. It's a very large, old, leaky sieve building. So I'll see if they'd be interested in engaging with you. So.
Yeah, we're looking for 1 to 2 more participants. So please reach out and let me know. That's great.
All right. So if anyone else knows of some multifamily buildings that could, the strategic energy management program is a really interesting program, because it's an energy manager and they do an assessment and they walk through, they analyze your energy use and then make recommendations, which of course roll into the incentive program. I believe there's a commitment though of a certain, that you are going to take some actions, right? Is that correct?
So we don't, it's kind of more of a time commitment from the energy champion that, maybe the property manager or maintenance person, just to make sure that they can participate with we hold a couple workshops throughout the 12 months. And then we also had to do the walkthrough and the energy scan and request your energy usage information. So it's more a time commitment. As far as the actual, there's no financial commitment. And then additionally, as far as participation, we're really there to try to help you find the opportunities and act on them. There's no commitment to having to do any certain projects.
Okay, great. Great. All right. Well, thank you very much. And I hope in the upcoming year, we can send some folks your way. And for multifamily folks who have buildings, I just want to say, reach out to the Ann Arbor 2030 district. We do aggregated building energy benchmarking, both for water and for your energy use. We work with DTE to aggregate all that data and put it into Energy Star. So that's also a great way to start. Because we work with automated data, that data goes in automatically, so you can view it at any time during the year. There are, some forms to fill out and so forth. And the other thing that you can pair with, some of these free services is the Ann Arbor 2030 district also has energy audit grants available. These are level 2 energy audits. And so again, you can reach out to me if I'll put my email in. If any of you have, the other thing to be aware of is the city of Ann Arbor does have an energy benchmarking ordinance, this year the due date is June 1st, and any property that has over 50,000 square feet on a parcel, so it could be multiple buildings or one building that totals over 50,000 square feet, you are required to benchmark by the city of Ann Arbor, and the Ann Arbor 2030 district can help you do that. So, all right. And with that, we're waiting to see if the green rental housing ordinance is going to come out with another draft. The goal is to probably get that adopted in 2023. So we're keeping an eye on that. We're kind of targeting March as our next kind of quarterly multifamily meeting. If something comes out on the green rental housing ordinance, that will be our topic. If not, we will, if any of you have ideas for topics that you'd like to look at, that'd be great. Our Lunch and Learn series, which is the Implementing 820 series, is going to kick off with Greg Bellino from JLL. He's their global strategic sustainability director, I think, but he's really looking at portfolio scale services and so forth around sustainability, ESGs, etc. Then we are hopefully February, we're going to have a session on all the IRA funded tax credits and by a tax expert. So there'll be some general lunch and learns that some of you may be interested in as well. And if there are some questions that you have, some topics that you would like covered, go ahead and email me, because we are planning next year right now. So with that, I'll wish everyone really joyous holidays, and we'll see you all in the new year. Thank you.
Thank you, you too.
Avery, thanks, Jan.